All right, so give you guys some context. This is our first video on our new YouTube channel. It's a little bit different tone of a YouTube channel than we normally do, but this is the Flight Test Community Association. This is a YouTube channel kind of dedicated to the community, but also our community-based organization, which we had to form for various reasons. So what are we doing in this conference room today, Josh?
CBO is something we've been throwing around a lot lately, and it's actually a term that's very, very important, not only for us in our future, but also for you guys to give you as much flexibility. When 349 came out, a lot of people don't know this, but like when you look at Flight Test, and we considered ourselves a CBO from the beginning, we have a community, we have a flying family, we have a group of people that we represent and that we hopefully want to see grow and become influential. AMA is another one too. There was never actual guidelines to officially recognize any entity as a CBO until 349 came. And we worked really hard last year to make sure that we met every one of those guidelines: physical location, educational programs, events, content to communicate with the community. Obviously, that's our normal content. We hit all of them very easily, and we have all that. Even the 501c3 now, we have that. The reason that they want to see that is because there's something called safety guidelines. And if CBO has safety guidelines and someone is a member of that CBO and operate under that, that gives them tremendous flexibility to be able to be legal and compliant. And that was one thing early on in 349 that they mapped out, is they're constantly looping back around to as outlined in the CBO. And so we wanted to make sure that there wasn't just one, but also with our community, we represent a very unique demographic: young innovators, seasoned pilots, people that enjoy every aspect of technology from FPV to free flight. We want to make sure we represent them well, and also have a very basic level of safety guidelines that is very easy to comply with. Our hope with that was that people would kind of stop there. You could say, I'm part of the FTCA, or I'm part of the AMA. And here's the safety guidelines, and I'm in compliance, and we can kind of self-manage. That's kind of unclear because they kind of keep pushing it back, don't they?
Yeah, I think that when you're talking about the difference between what we felt that we've always been, which is a community organization of people that believe the same things and do the same things, the important part of becoming a government recognized entity is because the way that a lot of the rulemaking has shook out since Section 349 became law in 2018. There's actually been no officially recognized CBOs. And AMA, of course, for decades and decades and decades before that was the only recognized CBO. And so because we have a large and unique group of people that we've always considered to be our community, we thought it was important to be officially recognized, to officially speak on their behalf, and be able to officially do things like have CBO guidelines that people can operate within if they consider themselves associated with Flight Test. And the way a lot of the rulemaking is shaking out is it's saying, if you are operating within a CBO's guidelines, that can help mitigate some of the risk that comes with integrating, airspace.
They even left room in those things to say some of those things you get exemptions for easier.
Right.
If you're a soaring part of soaring community, you could have a way to fly higher than maybe was stated than 400 feet.
So we spent about 6 months at the beginning of 2019 making sure that, because the criteria to become a CBO is in Section 349. It tells you the criteria you need, and making sure that we check all of those boxes. And so as soon as the FAA recognizes its process for officially recognizing CBOs, we intend to go through that process. And that helps us serve you guys in an official capacity on behalf of you. And so we're really excited about that, even though all of the particular policy stuff has been kind of a bummer.
And it's frustrating too, and this is where I think there's a fundamental breakdown. They're saying CBOs are very much needed to help us with this process, but they're continually kicking back what it takes to be officially recognized as a CBO to help with the process. And in the same time, they're kicking out terrible proposals like this remote ID that we can't officially then step into. So it's, in my opinion, it makes me upset. It's broken. They need to do it in the order they proposed so we can have the impact, or at least the insight and effect that they're valuing. And it's kind of crazy because it's like, okay, here is altitude restrictions, here is knowledge-based testing, now here's remote ID. And everything that could actually speak into it and have a really good impact for a positive effect for both safety, compliance, everything they're asking for is working through the community-based organizations, but they keep kicking it back. And that's, just so you guys know, that's a frustrating thing for us because we've met all those guidelines. Many other people have met those guidelines. And I believe that's a good way to fix this problem, where the FAA can say, look, these people are working under these community-based organizations guidelines. They have processes. We've approved them. Let's get out of their way.
Yeah, so getting back to kind of the immediate concern of remote identification is that there's a way that the FAA can fulfill Congress's wishes that was, put into effect by 349. Part of that was remote identification. There's a way to do it that is fair and as simple and as easy for people that fly recreationally. And we're talking about airplanes, we're talking about FPV racing, we're talking about just anybody that wants to fly and share a reasonable airspace recreationally. And that can be as simple as you're going to fly someplace and you want to let the national airspace know that you're flying there as you click a couple buttons in an app, and then you're there flying and that's your area. And there's lots of other versions that are way too burdensome, they're way too difficult, and quite frankly unclear at this point. And so our goal is to bring clarity to that. So we know that the temptation is to comment and to make your voice heard, and we absolutely want you to do that. We just ask that you hold off for our next video in the next week or two, where we've had a chance to coordinate more with other organizations and individuals and create the most powerful, cohesive statement we can make. Because I would love to see 20, 30, 40,000 people comment and do it in the most concise and valuable way to policy and rulemakers.
So something you guys can look forward to is obviously some very simple, raw, uncut, but also real-time videos. Our goal is to take you guys along. So when we go to CES next week, as we learn things, we'll be able to share that with you real time. So if you're out in the community, the worst thing that can happen is everyone fall in a pit of negativity. And sometimes that brings out the worst of us when we're scared. If you see that and we're offering any information that can help people get clarity, please tell them about this channel, tell them about these resources, because beyond the message, we're going to be able to start linking people to the resources. What I see a lot of right now is people getting scared, and frankly, they have a right to be, and they should be. I know we're not happy, we're scared. There's a lot of great partners we have in the industry. When you think about Horizon, Ready Made RC, Get FPV, everyone and all the jobs and everyone around there is affected just as much about this rule. So this is a hobby, but this is livelihoods for a lot of people too. And we're all united to really make this better. And our goal is to hopefully, change the course. So please turn them on to that. But as we learn more, as we interview more people, as we get more knowledge, we're going to be sharing at this channel. And then also we'll be sharing links about our website and everything where you'll be able to see more too. But don't take silence as complacency. Silence can sometimes be strategic and to get the right information to make the most impact. And that's frankly exactly what we're doing here.
The long story short is we haven't been quiet. We've kind of just recently become publicly working on this.
If anything, we're tired.
Yeah, we're very tired. We've been working on this a lot behind the scenes on top of all the other stuff that we do. But the moral of the story is we're going to bat for you guys, for ourselves, for the hobby, for aviation in general. So make sure you subscribe to this channel if you're interested in following that type of thing. And like I said, we're going to take you guys along, and you guys can learn right alongside with us. So thank you guys very, very much for all of this, and stay tuned for more updates to come.
Thanks, guys.
See you.